The meaning of fear is literally the meaning of deception, for they are one and the same. It is deception that has induced fear and is its cause. The meaning of deception is the meaning found within hell, being the false reality with a false authority that is opposed to the reality of a loving Creator, which is Himself. And so, being Himself, His creations are like Him. There is no gender inferred here, just one father, one mother, or whatever name one chooses for the source of their own life. It is then the power of deception where fear has its only power. Without this deception, fear is completely powerless. If one is deceived, then one becomes under the control of the deception. If one is deceived, then knowledge has been lost, and the deception is kept in place through illusions and through ignorance. Being deceived thus, the deception has gained power over us. The deception of evil is that God's Son has been made guilty, lives outside of God's reality, and therefore outside of creation. That God's Son lives in sin, and that God's Son is powerless and will be judged against and must fear this final judgment. All this and much more does deception teach the Son of God. The Son of God, who is but our own life force that has taken its home within a body and has taken on the limits that the body has taken to be one's own. The meaning of the Son of God lies within the mind of His Creator and not within a body which His Father did not make. For the Son of God is made in love, and love is the light within God's mind. And so heaven has its meaning within the mind of God. The body was to deny the Creator and to not see Him, nor His reality. And this is what the body does, for its eyes do not see, for they see only a tiny, tiny fraction of the light that surrounds it. It is such a tiny amount that what it does see is but shadows. This is not seeing, but it is perceiving images that are not true and are not real, but have taken on a reality of their own. They have become our dreams, because the mind within the body sees them, and seeing is believing, because they are one. And so we do believe what we see. Yet the truth is that we see what we believe, and then we do believe what we see. Having been deceived by fear, we then make beliefs that simply are not true, and so we see illusions that are of our own making, but we are not aware that we have made them. The truth of who we are in reality is that we are beings of power because we are part of our Creator. Having lost the knowledge of this when we entered into a body, we have learnt everything we think is true and real about ourselves as bodies from a place of forgetfulness. It is this forgetfulness that is the dark dream that the world we are making within ourselves has become. When we believe that the fear we think we are seeing within us is real and true, then we have been taught we are powerless, and we have learnt a false lesson about ourselves, about who we are. And so the fear, if it is believed to be true, calls for response as a way to defend our weakness and our powerlessness. All fear literally deceives one into believing they are not the Son of God, and that their Father, Creator, Source, is not taking care of them in every moment, in every way. Fear has its only meaning within a body identity, as one who believes he is a body believes also that he is weak, and fear is real, and so must defend himself from all that is outside the body. Yet literally the whole world and the whole universe must be defended against, because a body is tiny and fragile and weak in comparison to all the forces that appear to be beyond its control and its limits. One who believes they are a body must seek to control the world around them as a way to defend themselves. Other bodies can be seen as threats, just as everything else can be seen as a threat, because they are seen to be not part of who we are. When the mind is trapped within the tiny limits of the body, the mind is in a state of constant confusion and is always seeking for understanding in everything it sees. Yet the mind in reality is but one mind, and all minds in every body are still a part of the one unified mind, yet the body was made not to see this. It is part of the deception that the body was made not to see wholeness, but instead to see separation, and everything it witnesses to is unrelated. The identification with the body is the meaning of the ego, and the ego is but the modern interpretation of the ancient meaning, which is the meaning of evil, and the world of evil is but hell. And so the world we see has become a hell realm of our own making, only because we have been deceived into judging against each other, only because we have judged against ourselves first. Having judged against oneself first, fear was the first response we ever had outside of reality, reality being the meaning of heaven, and the reality being the meaning of truth. Seeing a world of confusion outside of ourselves, we are unaware that it is of our own making. We have become accustomed to believing things about ourselves which simply are not true, and they are not part of reality. And so the answer to a world in fear and a world in confusion is but within us, where all will be answered wholly and completely, and it will be the final answer, the one that sets us free. It will be believed because it came from within us, where it can be seen. If we are dreaming and our dream becomes a nightmare, then is it reasonable to attempt to control each fearful image within the dream? Or is it reasonable, if one truly wants peace, to simply remember they are the dreamer and are not the figure within the dream? Their reality is outside the dream, and they are still who they are. And with this knowledge within them, the fears within the nightmare simply lose their power to deceive. When one believes in the body identity, then one sees all problems outside oneself, and one can but fall into depression and anxiety, because what seems to be outside seems to be beyond our control and beyond our power to change. Yet the truth is that the power and only power of creation is within us, because we were created to create, and this we still are, even though we have unknowingly been denying it. The goal of fear is to deny reality, and our own reality is to create. Undoing fear within ourselves frees us from this illusion. It frees us from seeing value where value does not exist, from seeing problems that are not what we think they are. It frees us from bondage, from the world has become a place of self-enforced slavery. Undoing fear within us answers all the problems we face here, because the truth is that there is but one problem, and so there is but one answer. Insanity is simply answered by sanity, and the Son of God is sane because the mind of the Creator is sane. The meaning of the Son of God and the meaning of Christ have their meanings within us. It is the life that flows through our body and through our veins, and it is but the life of God. It is this sameness that makes us all the same and therefore all one. It is this sameness that is the meaning of justice. To see this is to know God and to realize we are all each other's saviours, for we are all part of each other. Fear simply teaches us we are each other's enemies and the world is against us. And this is the deception of evil.